Hello, everybody.
I'm joking.
Hello, everybody, and happy Sunday. Gosh, I can't believe how this year has flown by. It's May 23rd.
Into May.
I know, May 23rd today. Next Sunday will be the last day of May.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the year. Yeah. Absolutely crazy.
In the year of our Biden, 2021.
Oh, happy Sunday. I'm Kate Dillon from Crate Insider and all the things. And I'm here today with Steve Hendren from Hendren Racing Engines.
And all the other things.
And all the other things. Yes, yes. Can I call you like expert engine builder?
No, okay. I don't like that. I'm modest.
Wow. I think humility is your best.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, is absolutely your best quality.
Just like every engine builder and every race car ever.
Yeah, for sure. So if you are here, go ahead and drop in a comment, say hi, and so because we're live and our names are here and the whole deal, the whole thing. Absolutely. So tell me, Steve, should we kick it off with the how your week was or what you're drinking?
Ultra.
Okay.
Which we hope to get a sponsorship by them before long.
Yeah, Bud Light hasn't really given us a call.
Yeah. No, fuck them. We're going with Ultra.
We're going with Ultra. All right. I am currently drinking a Chelada. So we've got the Michelada mix from Don Ramone's. That's new.
Exactly.
Yep. So got some of that,
and
I am drinking Bud Light with it. But I'm drinking it in my Jones mug right here, which is super cool because Jones is what drives you.
The symbol.
I did. I showed that. I showed Jones right there, okay. And then Jones, what drives you. Right. So there's that. Yeah. Absolutely. So I actually got a question earlier in the week. Dropped it in here so that you could see it and you can answer it. So and if you got any tech questions, go ahead and drop them into the comments. And I see one that's very similar to what I'm going to ask. So we'll follow up with that one. But the very first question, Steve, is what is the proper timing for a 602?
Depending on the fuel you're running, anywhere between 34 and 38 degrees.
Now, if you're just doing it on your own, you're getting your crate out of the box.
34 degrees all day long runs just fine. If you're on E85 or something like that, you can probably get away with about 36 without needing to be on a dyno. But I would say, 34 is safe no matter what. Mm-hmm. So, I don't care what fuel you're using, 34 is safe.
Great. Well, and that is right in there with our next question I see here from Brian. Brian asked about 604 timing.
The same, honestly. Both are fast burn chambers. So, again, depending on fuel, 34 is the safe number.
It's the go-to.
It's the go-to.
And then if you want to push it to 36 on E85?
We're talking between 34 and 38. We're probably talking like 6-7 horsepower.
Okay.
Same in torque. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it's going to be a deal breaker as far as winning or losing a race.
Right. That's a good one. Oh, gosh, we got some folks to say hi to.
At least it wasn't a fucking avgas question.
Well, otherwise you'd have to. You once again would be an ass gasket.
I would be an ass gasket.
That's what Steve has been called now is an ass gasket on our YouTube channel. So welcome.
Welcome, ass gasket.
Yeah, you're popular enough that you have a troll.
I do. I have an avgas expert.
Yeah. Yeah, we really do need to do.
Because he owns a dyno and everything.
Yeah, he's got a couple of videos, which is better than most of the trolls on YouTube. Right. But all right, so I see Scott is here from California, and he says he enjoyed the interview with Roy Bain.
Oh, yeah.
And he also said thanks for the good words on Kimberly Myers. So in case you missed it, Roy Bain does a podcast, I believe weekly on Thursday nights, and that is called Up on the Bars. I don't have a link to it. I think it's like a private Facebook group. Mm-hmm. But you can join it very easily and then be able to
I had a really good time the other night. He's like, do you think you can do an hour? I'm like, fuck yeah, I can do an hour. Mm-hmm. So we went like an hour and 30 or something.
We're having a good time talking.
We had a good time. And as far as Kim goes, dude,
go ahead and tell the story.
No, I've got nothing like Kimberly Myers is like one of my favorite women of all time. She's passed away now due to her cystic fibrosis that she had, but she was like one of my favorite people of all time, and she was a racing freaking maniac. Mm-hmm. And she could drive it. She could wheel a damn race car.
That's awesome.
Trust me.
Yeah. That's really great. All right, so we got a great question here from Lane Meredith. It says, do you recommend air filters that require oil or the oilless ones that can be cleaned with a compressor? Is there a difference in motor longevity?
Like my current recommendation is going to be the Walker stuff because it takes the least amount of oil to actually filter filter properly. I'm not a what's that piece of shit filter?
Canon
fan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's honestly Canon keeps engine builders in business. As far as like
this episode is not sponsored by Canon.
No, ones you blow out like R2C. Yeah, I was a big fan of them years ago, but since they absolutely boned every single one of their
dealers,
customers, everybody. Yeah. A couple years ago, no, I don't recommend them. And I've had actual customers buy R2Cs, and it's like they're cheap filter material. So they don't, no. But now, R2C, I'd go with Walker.
Now, I would say that,
not just because you sell it.
Right.
Don't mean to interrupt you.
Okay.
We're going to get into the whole interrupt you thing.
We'll wait for you to be done talking.
All
right. Something we have told people, there was a time where we were kind of an interim time where we couldn't get R2Cs and R2C had fallen off the map. We hadn't discovered Walker yet.
Right.
So there was that time in there. And during that time, we did say, hey, go to your local Napa dealer and get a paper filter.
Correct.
And go disposable.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
And if you still want to do that, I think you would still say, hey, that's fine.
100%.
Just don't try to run it for more than a race or two.
Yeah, I mean, run it one race, throw it away. I mean, there's nothing wrong with like a Napa Gold filter.
Or I think Wix makes one.
I mean, Wix, yeah. I mean, that's what the Napa Gold is the Wix filter. There's nothing wrong with running that one race and throwing it away.
But when we look at like the lifetime value or the lifetime cost, when we've got a $99 filter that you can clean and reuse and oil, correct. And of course you got some oil and cleaner in there for costs, but you can use that for an entire season or a season and a half.
And what I always suggest is like, if you're going to buy one of those, buy two.
Right.
So you buy one, run it this week, clean it. You have the other one ready. You run it the next week, clean it. And then the one behind that is like, the filter you're running the following week, basically.
So there you've got $200 in 2 seasons worth of filters. Otherwise,
2 to 3 seasons.
Probably.
The material doesn't go bad.
Right.
I mean, don't catch on fire. You're good.
Yeah. So. Well, I mean, just when in comparison, I mean, obviously it depends how many races you run, but if you're running, 40 events over the summer and those filters, what are they, $5 a piece?
Yeah. But with what filters?
The Wix ones or
they're like $11 or $12.
Oh, okay. So you can see very quickly that you can easily be into $400 worth of filters.
Correct.
Over a season if you're replacing them after each race.
Yeah. So I mean, it's what we run on my own son's car.
The Walker.
And that's what we do. We own 2 filters and we cycle it out every week.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, and be sure to not over oil your filter. That's really important. Definitely.
Right.
For that. Somebody thinks we're open today. Sorry.
Yeah.
My phone's vibrating. We're not open. I don't know. Maybe they want to be a special guest on the show today. My phone's ringing. Sorry about that. Anyway, you don't want to over oil your filter.
No.
That's important.
No.
You don't want to clog up the air filter. All right. Okay, we got some more questions. Oh gosh, got lots of questions here.
Well, good.
Yeah, or
that's
lots
what
of
we
comments
like. We
here.
like questions and comments and.
Oh, for sure.
So
Jim is here. He says he's racing at Tyler County Speedway tonight. That's cool. There's a Sunday race. That's great.
Yep.
I see Cash is here. He says happy Sunday. And
he won.
I saw that on Facebook. Yeah. So congratulations. I know.
He did not break a transmission again or rear end or whatever it was. Rear end. Yeah. He did not break a rear end again.
Or if he did, he did it after the checkered flag.
Well, right.
that part is good there. All right. So Brian asks, he says, what is stock horsepower and how much can you increase it in a 604?
Honestly, it depends. I mean, it could be insignificant or significant because, I mean, we're ultimately talking like production line built engines. So, I mean, if everything works out great one day, then I could probably, gain very little. If it works out really bad the next day, then I can gain a lot.
Well, I would say
and a lot meaning, I don't know, under 20 horsepower, probably. I mean, if you'd asked me the same question, like, let's say 10 years ago, it would have been outrageous. So nowadays they've gotten down better. GM's like doing a better job. Their tolerances are probably a little bit better. I mean, their blocks still suck, but yeah.
But at least that's the same way it is for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's racing with the same thing.
100%.
Well, let's talk about for a moment, though, that it's not just in like the blueprinting, which is what you've been specifically mentioning in what you're talking about. But with all of the testing that you do at Hendren Racing Engines, and of course, I get to be the benefactor of all of that testing to find out what you can do to increase the horsepower, increase the torque by using the bolt-ons and the best that's out there. And you've tested. I mean, you've tested so many things.
Probably everything. I mean, every now and again, somebody like asks a question. I'm like, I have no idea what the hell that is. But they tell me what it's supposed to do. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably bullshit.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. And we try, maybe on this show, we're a little more bold in saying whatever the heck we want. But for the most part, we don't really throw stuff under the bus. We don't bash anything. It's just not how it is. But if it's on Crate Insider, if it's on our website to be sold, there's a reason it's there. There's nothing that's there by accident. It's all good, high quality things.
I don't give people bad advice. I'll put it that way. No, I mean, you could take my advice. You could take somebody else's advice. I mean, I don't care, but I'm not going to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
So from what I find is good and what maybe somebody else finds is good, I mean, maybe somewhere in the middle lies the truth.
Yeah.
Or not necessarily the truth, but maybe something that works for you, depending on where you race.
Well, that's just it. You know, I like to say in life or in business, there are multiple right answers. There's some that are clearly wrong, but there's multiple right answers. You know, we got a few different spark plugs we sell now. We've got, a couple of different distributors. It's not like there's just one thing that is the only thing that is the best thing ever.
Correct.
And sometimes it's all about the combination. It's about your circumstances with what kind of surface that you're riding on. You know, is it red clay or is it hammer down? Is it
I mean, one of the things I get all the time, and I'm like sitting here wearing a Profab shirt today. So like one of the questions I get a lot is from people who are like, hey, I'm racing at this slick piece of shit racetrack where we can't hook up a 604. What kind of headers do I need? You know what I tell them?
Profab.
Anything will work.
Okay.
You know why? Because it's slick. If you can't hook up a 604 on your slick ass racetrack, I don't care what you buy. They're going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Now, if you go to like Gaffney, South Carolina, Cherokee Speedway, and you want to come there on a on a Saturday night and win the race, you better have the best of the best, which would be Profab.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we don't usually plug products here, but I'm going to go ahead and.
I'm not trying to. I mean, it's just an example. That's a question I get all the time.
Right.
You know, I mean, if you're racing Magnolia and it's slick as freaking hell,
mm-hmm.
I mean, Joe Blow's headers work just fine because you can't get on the gas anyway.
So mine's not necessarily just sell product, but more of a public service announcement. Is headers have been this season in 2021. Headers have been the most difficult product to obtain. Period. I mean, it's been even harder than getting the engines. It's been getting headers. I mean, all of them are out. So currently, speaking of Profabs, I do have 604 stainless steel sets that are good for a Longhorn, regular rocket, like, you know, even an XR1, but it's not inside the frame rail. It's outside the frame rail. Masters built. Well, I was getting to that too. And then they've actually done one batch of these before, but with the 602 late models, that there's been a lot of controversy about having stainless ones. So Profab did a batch of mild steel headers, and those were really popular. They sold them out quickly. It's been very difficult getting steel this year, but they did just get some. They're in production. I have a part of the batch, and actually I'm down to one set. It's a pre-order item on the website. Yeah. So I have one set left to pre-order, and then I don't know when I'll have more. They've been tough. So if you're looking for 602 dirt late model headers, I have one set left. All right. Well, this is fun. Ryan's here and he says, "Hey, what's up, guys? Enjoying what's left of a 12-pack. I ain't asking nothing to generate combo. Just want y'all to know I'm watching from Pound, Virginia.
All right.
Best part of the weekend is this show.
Right.
So love it. Thank you so much for being here, Ryan. Appreciate that.
And I love the name of the town.
Yeah, Pound.
Pound, VA.
Oh my God. I'm censoring myself so I don't get kicked off of Facebook. All right. Oh, here's a great question. Mike says, what can you tell us about the Race Logic stock car series? Okay, so Race Logic, it's not a series, but it's a chassis school. So what Brian Littleton has been doing this for over 20 years. He gathers up experts in any particular discipline. So we've done a crate late model class. We've done this year we did for 2021. We did a crate late model class. We did a metric street stock class, and we did an IMCA stock car class. And Brian gathers up these experts. We find a location, and then they put on a class, chassis school, really talking about all the setup and everything that goes into that with some of the smartest and best people in the business. And starting in 2020 was the first test case, but then now here in 2021, I filmed them all for Brian and put them onto the Race Logic website, which is racelogic.vip. So instead of .com, it's a .vip. And then you can sign up for those classes. And I mean, there's a fee that goes with it, but I think it's worth every single dollar.
I can't speak to the other classes because the only one I went to was the late model class.
Right.
And I learned shit at the late model class.
You've been doing this for 30 years.
I've been doing this shit all my life. And it's honestly like the stuff you gain, like just little shit. I mean, everybody knows the big stuff.
Yeah.
But nobody knows the little stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the little stuff is like what counts. And like, I don't know. I learned stuff.
Well,
I was like one of the people who like spoke there. So
what's interesting is that, that little stuff, it really does matter even more with a low horsepower application.
Correct.
So even if you don't have a crate engine necessarily, if you're in a class which is a lower horsepower application outside of the supers, every single little thing makes that difference.
Well, I mean, one of the things like related to me when I went to that class is you had Matt Henderson there talking. So like you got a race car driver talking on a race car driver's level,
mm-hmm.
meaning we're not all the brightest bulbs in the back. And he broke it down to where I could understand what he was saying. Because I'm a race car driver.
Mm-hmm.
First, engine builder second. But he broke it down on a level I could understand. Because, I mean, Chip and some of the guys over there could, like, speak a little bit over everybody's head. And that would interject and, like, break it down to a point to where I could understand what was actually being said. So
that takes me back to before we started Crate Insider. And I remember reading one of the racing magazines, and I can't remember if it was Stock Car Racing or one of those. And you read the first paragraph, man, I'm feeling like an expert. Man, I got this. Let's keep going. Second paragraph, you have to be a mechanical engineer to understand what the hell they're saying.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like it's on purpose to demonstrate the author's superiority.
Right,
like they're so much superior, they're so much smarter. Now they're going to show off. But the problem is it doesn't relate. No. And that's why, like with Crate Insider, all the videos that we've ever done for Crate Insider, we really try to make it so that an 8th grader can understand it. I mean, I'm not undermining anybody, just making it. I'm not a techie person. So if I can understand it, then really anybody can.
And that's hilarious you say that, because honestly, if you can, then anyone can.
Yeah, and it's not an insult. I'm very, very smart, but
Kate's a dumbass. I mean, Kate's one of the smartest people I ever met my entire life.
But I'm not an auto mechanic at all. At all, and I have zero background in it. So it's really the best barometer to find out if it's going to be understandable, because I always want this to be relatable for that person who's like, man, I've been watching those cars go around in circles a long time, and man, I've always wanted to do that. Well, we want to encourage those people to get started.
Absolutely.
So, and it's not, we're not going to do it by being a bunch of
pretentious assholes.
That's a great way to put it. Absolutely.
But I mean, in this sport, we have a bunch of pretentious assholes. But what I can tell you is, like, when you go to Brian, if you go to Brian's school or you buy it online, you don't run into that. Like, everybody's like giving away all the secrets.
Yeah.
Which to me is just like amazing because.
Oh, no holds barred.
No, I mean, it's like, here's what you do. Here's how you do it. And I mean, like, look at Dave.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Dave sells the shit out of his stuff, and Dave Hammond like makes some of the best products on the market. But he comes to this school and tells you how to use it, and why to use it, and how. I mean, everything. It's amazing.
And it's not a sales pitch.
It's not a sales pitch because he doesn't give a shit. I mean, he doesn't bring. I mean, he didn't bring any product to sell at the show. He like drove from freaking Iowa, which doesn't exist. to Tennessee, and like after he fell down the stairs like 52 times, like he like tumbled down a bunch of stairs, and like he was like,
he still showed up though.
He still showed up and did his whole deal, which was to me, I mean, completely fucking impressive.
Well, in the online version, what's so great about it is you can fast forward, rewind. You can just go to the particular section.
Correct.
You can watch it over and over and over.
And if you go to the school, you can also get for free in the online version.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you go in person.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So next up, James has a question for us. And he says, after locking out my MSD distributor, what can I do for easier starting of the engine?
All right. So once it's locked out and you're like timing it with a locked out distributor, like let's say 34 degrees, normally what you're going to do is like pump the gas about 3 or 4 times, the pedal. And what that'll do is you're putting big droplets of fuel in the engine, right? And that'll actually make it start way easier.
I didn't know that was an issue.
It is. Yeah. I mean, anytime you're locked out, I mean, it's always an issue. But yeah, about 3 or 4 times, pump it, and you're good.
I see Brandon is here. He says, hey, Kate and Steve, getting my car ready to run the Carolina Clash race at Lakeview next Saturday. Awesome. Well, good luck to you next weekend.
I used to race a Clash back in the day.
Gosh.
Back when I was young.
Long time ago.
I was young, dumb, and full of energy.
All right, Tom's here. He says, well, what's the difference between standard and matched valve springs for a 602 crate?
I mean, if you go on my, I mean, I'm not going to like not try to sell matched valve springs, but you know, if you go on my Hendren Racing Engines page and like look at my valve spring deal, that'll tell you a lot. I mean, the match stuff, I mean, it's fine. But like if you do, I mean, if you deal with Kate on that stuff, I mean, we're like matching them and, you know, putting them on the website and all that stuff. But how do I fucking put this without completely trashing your match valve spring thing?
Well, honestly, we do see, so when we're talking about 602 valve springs, we do see quite a bit of differentiation.
We can.
And we can do the best we can to try to match them up and throw out the ones that are just straight up duds. However,
what I've got to say is do not buy $200+ match valve springs because they're like 84 pounds.
Okay, anybody who's matching valve springs at install height is doing it wrong.
Correct.
That's what we're going to say. And actually, there's a very good video with me talking to Don Blackshear who really does like break it down and explain it. Yep. And so it's on CrateInsider.com, and you can find it in the matched valve springs section where Don talks about it.
So when we match valve springs, we match a mid lift
halfway through the path of travel, because a valve spring will be open half the time, closed half the time, and
well, I mean, it's half the travel twice.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
See, most of the time it's halfway open or halfway closed.
We match everything in half the travel. So like doing it that way, you got a much more accurate reading because it sees it twice per revolution.
Right.
Then you will, you know.
Well, we're putting more pressure on them.
Right.
So people ask all the time. So, what are yours rated at? I'm thinking about buying these 84-pound
84-pound valve
Well, mine are
springs
like 170
from these fucking assholes that copied pit lights and everything else.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
That's a whole nother story.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. It is. All right, moving on. We have Kale here, and he says, Steve, does a 4150 carb running on E85 take a special rebuild kit, or will a standard Holly kit work?
No, the standard Holly kit will not work. So no, it won't.
Good deal. Now, going back to Pound Town, where Ryan lives.
Pound Town. I love Pound Town.
See, he says pound it.
Exactly.
And he mentioned that it is what it is. So, it's a little recap on there.
I want to live there. Just saying. I'll be right back. I get a beer. Pound Town. I love
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm going to wait for Steve to get back here. And I see you guys have a couple of great questions. So keep on dropping in your comments and your questions. We are happy to answer them for you. And let us know what you're drinking. Drop that into the comments. Let us know. Are you drinking beer? Are you drinking wine?
How the fuck did you buy warm beer, by the way?
I went to Food Lion.
Good God.
You know what, dude? There's so much beer here. Like, suck it. There's Guinnesses in there that are cold. There are Natural Lights that are cold. There's Bud Lights that are cold. I just bought the Ultra at Food Lion. No, I didn't. I don't know. I picked it out of the case. I put it in the buggy. There's pre-chilled beer here.
Don't care about me. Let's see.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Kate, for saving me a trip to the grocery store.
Well, there's that.
God.
According to you, we have plenty of beer.
There's plenty of beer. I don't know for you, but at least enough that it can be cold so you can drink it while your other ones chill out.
Yeah.
Okay. Danny is here, and he says, hi, Kate and Steve from Orange County, New York.
Oh.
Got New York here.
That's interesting.
And then
I didn't know there was an Orange County, New York.
I did not know that either. All right, so we've got a good question for you, Steve. He says, this is Keith, says, have you guys seen or had any issues with brand new 602s, as in quality and workmanship from GM? I've seen a handful of untouched GM sealed engines have problems or blow up, and I've got them on a 6200 chip and have upgraded the valve springs to the 1210X. I don't know what the 1210X is. Do you know what that is?
No, I haven't. Seen a problem. The newest ones out. Excuse me, the newest ones out have been actually really good. So like the machine work that I've seen from the third-party vendor who does the 602 has been actually quite good. So no, I have not seen that issue.
It's interesting that he's on a 6200 chip, and he's upgraded the valve springs to the 1210.
I don't know what that is, honestly, because everything we do has to be 100% GM. So I don't know what the 1210X spring is. Yeah, I assume it's like an aftermarket,
like a pack spring or something, or
pack or cheater spring of some sort.
Okay.
I don't, but no, I have not seen a problem with like the latest 602s.
Good to know.
Like since the new part number.
Right.
Now, before the new part number, yeah, engines were fucking junk. But
okay, way to make that okay.
There's
sugarcoat it. Way to sugarcoat it.
I'm not gonna fucking sugarcoat it either.
I know. Roy is here. He says, "Thanks for doing my show. It was fun. Absolutely. We were talking about it a little earlier there. Yeah, absolutely.
Where's he at now? He's probably like driving somewhere.
Probably. Look who else is here. David Smith. David Smith Carbs is here.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So hey, Kate and Steve, or Steve and Kate. Hey, David. It's so nice to have you on the show.
Here's one of my favorite carburetor builders in the world, which is David Smith. So like, if anybody needs a freaking awesome carburetor, go to David. And I've dynoed so much of his stuff that I know for a fact he's one of the best carburetor builders in the business.
Yeah. So. Right. And I sell, a few of those.
You do. You might sell 1 or 12 every now and again.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Oh, so Keith is going to explain here about those springs. He says these are brand new 2018 or newer pack 1210. So it's going to be a pack spring is what you're using on that.
Yeah, that's what
I don't wonder if that's any kind of an issue there. If you're putting a too powerful of a spring on a 602, does it matter?
I have not had explodey 602 problems, honestly.
No, I really haven't.
No, I haven't. 9 times out of 10, if it's a 602, I mean, they're hard to hurt. So 9 times out of 10, if like somebody blows up a 602, I'm sitting there going, user error.
Yeah.
Is usually what I'm going to first.
Gotcha. Well, Cliff is here, and he says, I've been on the last few shows asking for help with my carburetor issues. Well, I think I found the issue. The vent had mud compacted up in the 90 on the fuel cell. I was hoping to test it out, but Mother Nature here in Texas won.
Okay, yeah, you have to have a vent.
Yeah. So
if you don't, then you can't pull a vacuum through something with no vent. So odds are that's going to be your problem.
Yeah, no, it seems like because this is somebody who's been struggling.
And if it's like a bigger deal than that, I would talk to David Smith, who was just on here before.
Right. I'm gonna go make a drink.
Who's a carburetor guru?
You can. You just have to click on.
I can't see that shit.
Okay, there you go.
Why don't I go make your drink and then you sit here?
No. Oh, so there's Roy.
Highway 58 in Oregon headed home. I got you.
That's where Roy is right now.
I have no idea how to fucking do this shit. So.
Well,
why don't I just make you your fucking drink and then you can like sit here and like.
No, because and
that shit.
Nope. David Fountain Motorsports is here. He says, "Hey, Kate and Steve."
Hello.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Steve, do you have any exciting summer plans?
No.
Okay.
Summer fucking sucks. So.
Oh my gosh, what is your favorite thing?
My favorite thing?
Yeah.
My favorite time of year.
Favorite time of year, whatever
Spring and fall.
Okay.
Yeah. When I lived in California, my favorite time of the year was summer. When I moved here, it was like, summer sucks. It's hot and humid and horrible as shit. So I now like fall and spring. So.
Okay, great. Well, somebody asked Steve a question here that he can answer. I'm trying to think of some of the other questions. Have you gotten any questions this week from being on the phone or customers?
Well, I mean, it's always like the standard question. Why is my engine running hot?
Well, that would be a great thing to talk about.
Well, I mean, normally, it depends on the series you're running and like the kind of car you have, but like normally dirt late model stuff, when your nose is sealed off to the ground, and your fan is like trying to pull air through the radiator, you've got a low pressure area in front of the radiator because you've got no air getting in there. So if there's no air getting in front of the radiator and you've got this big low pressure place where your fan is like trying to draw air through the radiator, then you're going to run hot. So everybody's all about aero nowadays, but you know what? You need to like actually get a little bit of air to the engine. So either putting like a 6-inch slice in the valence or drilling a couple holes in the left-hand side of the car or left-hand side of the nose to relieve that low pressure area will actually get air to go through the radiator. So that's my answer to that. Oh, you're back already.
Tell us about radiators.
What about them?
And cooling.
What?
Well, and cooling. Like cooling, what kind of radiator to choose to get the best cooling?
Double pass.
And why?
And double pass with like no restrictors because it like slows the water down enough to. That's why it's a double pass. Do not run a triple pass on anything other than asphalt car.
I just want to show you that this beer is very cold.
This looks cold.
Yeah, it looks cold. I made half a drink and I brought the other half out. That should be like, I should make that sound effect of the opening up a beer. That should be like our opening sequence for.
Could be that.
For yeah, there we go. Okay, let's see here. Oh, Roy Bain mentions IV hydration. That was fascinating to hear.
Dude, that was amazing.
That you have someone on your back out on the West Coast there does IV hydration at the racetrack. Well, I'd love to have a part of that.
Absolutely.
It'd be great.
I mean, if you like go to like a Lucas race or something like that, or World Outlaws or something, I mean, that'd be pretty freaking awesome.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of more energy if you've got hydration. Absolutely. It's so easy to. I mean, my hair is halfway wet and I'm sweating at the same time. It's like, I hate that in the summertime here. I mean, I love North Carolina. Don't get me wrong.
It's not even sticky yet.
Not yet. No. I have a lot of hair though. All right. Here's another question. Keith says, what are your thoughts on box stock crates or letting competitors blueprint for longevity of the engine? And then as a follow-up, what is a blue ballpark cost to blueprint? This is something we've certainly talked about quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, if you buy it, you own it. So that means to me, you can do anything you want with it. If you come to somebody like me and we blueprint one out of the box, what we're doing is like taking something that has, excuse me, stock specs and basically making racing specs out of the engine within the rules.
Well, let me expound upon that.
So I've had several customers tell me that, I mean, I've got really good friends who like run them out of the box. Mm-hmm. And they'll run them for 4 or 5 races, and they're like, oh, they're falling off. Bring them to me, I rebuild them, and they don't fall off. So,
well, just with any factory assembled product, you're going to have tolerances, and your tolerances are going to be far wider Correct. Than what we would have in a racing application. And so you're getting as close to that tolerance, it's the Price is Right rules, which is, close to the tolerance without going over or under, whatever the the case may be, as exact as you can, but you're still leaving yourself a little bit of a tolerance. And then that way you know exactly what you have. I like how my brother explains it. He says he's a great example. My brother says that your
brother being Jimmy Schultz, who owns Dirt Wrap.
Correct, yes. And for him, he sees it as an insurance policy. And the reason why is because then he knows exactly what he has. Interestingly enough, I know, I mean, this is years and years ago, so this isn't an example from 5 minutes ago or anything, but that there was one time where you pulled his engine apart, and this is a brand spanking new engine, Correct. And when you looked at that intake, you were like, oh,
it's illegal from GM. Yeah.
This looks illegal. And then you ended up making some phone calls, and I think you ended up having to get a different intake. Now, what if Jimmy had won a 10,000 to win race with his box stock engine, and they'd torn it down and found his intake to be illegal, even though he'd never done anything to it?
Right.
Then no matter how that comes out, no matter how that battle ensues, he will be labeled as a cheater for the next 25 years.
Correct.
And everybody will always think of him as, oh, well, there was that one time he cheated, even though he did nothing wrong.
As far as cost, though, I mean, you're looking like, I don't know. I mean, once 604s are released again, I don't know what the price will do. I mean, 602s are going up like $300. So 604s, I assume is going to be the same thing. So you're going to be paying like, I don't know, probably $6,400 for a 604. But like when we take those out of the box and we redo them, you're giving me like $2,400 roughly. Well, to go through it and per the rules and make sure it's like it should be, and that's basically it.
Now, in his case, he was talking about 602s, so you don't always go through the entire thing. You normally do that. It depends, right?
Yeah, I mean the 602 stuff I've found to be like it's much more consistent than like 604s, which is surprising. Because like 602s are like 100% production line built in it. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, but a lot of times you do just the top end on a 602.
Yeah, correct.
Mm-hmm. At least in the
which is usually where the issue is. But I will say that whoever they're using now in Missouri, which is where I heard it's at, they're doing a much better job.
Yeah. Now I was asking folks what they're drinking, and I see Steve is here. Whoops. Steve is here, and he says whiskey and Pepsi here in Ontario, Canada. Yeah, we're international. Yeah. This is their international Unsealed here. Says cheers, and by the way, David Smith on my 604 rocks.
Exactly.
Fantastic. Yep. Now Bill's got a great question. He says, "Why do you not run a triple pass radiator?"
I've never seen one be able to cool a dirt car.
Let's talk about how these work, though.
All right. So one of my dad's really good friends was Howard Stewart, and Howard explained it to us years ago. I mean, he's been at my shop, and him and my dad, like I said, were really good friends. And according to Howard, like when you go to a double pass, you cut flow by 33%. So when you go to a triple pass, you cut it by 66%. So in an asphalt car where you've got ram air, everything else going on,
electric fan,
all that shit going on, it works just fine. In a dirt car, we cannot make that thing cool because you're reducing flow by 66%. So you'd have to up flow by 66% to make that damn thing cool. And that's really honestly not possible. I mean, it could be possible, but you're just costing yourself a bunch of power.
Okay. Roy says Robert Wayne Baker is the VIP medical concierge. He's the one that does that IV.
Oh, awesome.
IV hydration.
I think it'd be awesome.
Christopher Meyer says JP2 won last night.
Nice.
That's Jim Pettit, second.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
one of my old arch nemesis.
And he's joining us with Coors Light. Speaking of nemesises, Christopher is drinking Coors Light.
Coors Light is my nemesis.
It is. It's mine as well. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. Christopher says, I ran a triple pass radiator. Big fan. Worked out great for the valley tracks.
Right.
But is it a lot cooler there?
I mean, no. Like Valley in California. I mean, no. It's like 100 fucking something degrees out there.
Okay. So. He was able to make it work. But yeah. Great. But
I mean, out here, no, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I know, I mean, I've had a conversation with Ben Baker from AFCO, and of course, Radiators, and we've talked about using the, what do we want to use and why do we want to use a double pass radiator? We've talked about that similar
Ben's
thing.
A good friend. So.
Oh yeah, and Ben's brilliant.
And he's also goes to the
Race Logic Chassis School. He's at all of them.
Yeah,
he's brilliant on cooling, brakes, just so well versed in all of these different aspects of a car. Shocks, he builds shocks. He can really do it all.
No, he's
very tuned in. Yeah. And Christopher says when he had the triple pass, he did the big jets to cool it also.
Oh, well, you were on methanol. Methanol is a totally different deal.
Yeah.
I mean, methanol versus race gas or E85 is a totally different fucking deal. Because out here, we can't run methanol. So everything is either E85 or race gas.
Oh, Steve Peden's on the show tonight.
Oh, my God.
By the way, we just had an interview with Steve Peden. He was at the Race Logic Chassis School. I feel like this is like a running ad for Race Logic Chassis School, but he was there, and he was at the Race Logic Chassis School. Mm-hmm. So Steve says, we had the Brownstown compression test last night. We were good, but I said, call Hendren on this. The compression test.
Nobody called me.
Nobody called you.
No.
But, yeah. Is that one of those, like, hey, we're going to do a compression test?
It's going to be one of them stupid fucking rules. It's like in the GM rule book where they're like, oh yeah, we got to get cranking compression, but they don't understand that, like, lifters bleed down or don't bleed down. And it's the stupidest fucking rule in the rule book.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if I can put this question up.
You can.
I will. James asked, does anyone know what happened to that Crate Motor Connection Company? I don't know. I think the guy's probably in jail.
Motherfucker went to jail.
Did it? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was being sued. He took so many people's money without giving them their stuff and had so much shit information out there. Finally, I mean, he was getting pursued. He was getting extradited back to Arizona. At some point.
He got like extradited to like a different state to like stand trial for fraud and all sorts of different shit. Yeah, he was like a douchebag piece of shit.
Yeah. So I don't know if he's out of jail or not or what. I have no idea.
I'm waiting for the next
the next
thing to have that happen.
Yeah. I hear you. I'm feeling who. Okay. Oh, and Christopher says he would change the jets from Watsonville to Merced.
Yeah,
and it was and it was a great.
Well, we did too. I mean, like back in the day when I ran out there, I mean, we'd go. I mean, I think like Watsonville, we'd run like 88s on a normal Friday night. Go to Merced or Antioch, which was both places like twice as hot as where we were at, and we'd like go up to 100s just to cool the engine.
Speaking of 100, check it out. Danny says Orange County, New York is home of the Orange County Fair Speedway that is celebrating its 102-year anniversary of running the 5/8 mile dirt track.
That's freaking awesome.
That's incredible. I
would love to go to that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be like big block modifieds and.
I mean, come on. That's freaking awesome to have the longevity of 102 years
of racing.
Yeah, without a subdivision being next door or a subdivision shutting you down, that's really incredible. Oh, okay. So I see Craig says, I just got on and was on the tail end of the radiator conversation. We had a 604 get to 275 degrees last night. We got it back to around 200 before we shut it off. Do you have any tips on what we should do to ensure no damage? It wasn't blowing a bunch of steam or anything, and motor seemed fine, but I want to be safe.
I would run a leak down test on it, which is what I recommend to everybody always.
Ooh, by the way, we just got leak down testers back in stock. I mean, they've been unobtainium.
I mean, I wasn't going there.
No, I know, but I haven't been able to get them all year, and I'm super excited. I finally got some.
I mean, if it leaks down fine, you're good. In other words, like, I mean, if you're like under 12, 14% cold, you're fine. 275 is getting bit up there, but like if you weren't blowing water, then odds are you didn't hurt it. If you're like blowing water out of the system, then you probably hurt the engine.
Well, let me ask you this, because I've had a conversation before with radiator folks talking about overheating radiators. And how it was explained to me is that the tubes in a radiator are all like oval shaped. They're ovals inside there. If you were to cut them in section, they're an oval. And the thing is that pipes don't really want to be oval. They don't want to be oval. They want to be round. And when you heat them up so much that they can expand and they can go from oval to round. If they go oval to round, then you're blocking, then you don't have airflow through your radiator anymore. So would you recommend that maybe he take a look at his radiator and see how those tubes are looking?
I certainly would. I mean, if you can see through the radiator, you're good. If you can't, then change the radiator. Yeah.
And because that could be the fallout of that damage, even though you didn't really hurt your motor.
And I've personally had that happen. I mean, years and years ago, I mean, I popped a motor one night and it like basically put combustion pressure into the radiator, blew the radiator up. We didn't know it. Changed engines, went and raced the next night, and things run hot. It's run hot because there's no airflow through the fucking radiator. So yeah, I've been there.
Yeah. So that's a good little tip there. Yeah, we all learn things on the show. We're thinkers. We're learners.
Experience or lack thereof. I mean, whatever.
Okay, let's see. Here we got another question here. Lucas says, I heard All-Star Radiator was bought out and is now made by a Chinese factory and quality is junk. Do you know?
I don't.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know who that is.
Honestly. I mean, All-Star Radiator. I mean, I think of All-Star, I think of Motor State, and all that stuff's made in China. So
it's.
I mean, to the best of my knowledge,
all
it is
garbage. I mean, there's a couple things that are good there, but.
No, I mean, All-Star makes some great products. I mean, I think, and for a really reasonable price point for a lot of simple stuff, but I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, go American made and you're good. So if there's even a question.
Yeah, I mean, AFCO's so solid. I mean, you've got some other ones like CNR radiators. You've used them.
No, CNR's
I'm not even a dealer.
Arts
Radiator is another one. There's a lot of really good radiator companies out there for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Christopher's asking, when are you coming to California?
I will be there. Let's see.
Probably like the 4th.
Yeah, I'll probably be there like October 4th. And then I'm going to go to the Antioch Hall of Fame induction deal. So that'll be the 9th, which is actually my fucking birthday.
When it'll be his birthday when he's inducted into the Antioch Speedway Hall of Fame.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll probably leave out probably like next Monday or something.
Makes sense. Craig says thanks for your help. So thank you, Steve, for your help on that. Yeah, cooling's such a major issue. Let's see. We got another question here. Chris says, we use a water pressure gauge. Is there a best location to connect the gauge?
There's not like a best location. I mean, most people like do it at the top of the water pump. So that's probably where I put it. I mean,
that'd be a really good question for me to ask Ben, because there's something I learned from, I'm just going to go ahead and share this in the Race Logic Chassis School in talking to Ben. And he says, a lot of people want to run a water temperature gauge, but what you really need is a water pressure gauge.
Correct. Yeah.
And do you want to explain why?
No, go.
Okay. So the reason why is that you dump water for one reason or another. You dump water, that your temperature gauge is just going to be, it's going to be stuck at whatever temperature it was at. As soon as you lose water pressure, though, you're going to have the idiot lights. Just absolutely no. And that way, if you're dumping water and you lose water pressure, you turn that off. And hopefully you catch it fast enough so you don't lose an engine.
Right. And normally you will with a water pressure gauge.
With a water pressure gauge, you will. Whereas with a water temperature gauge, you won't. You won't know. You're thinking, hey, I'm running the same temperature. Because
what will happen a lot of times, and I've had several, I've fucking done this. Like, you're looking at the temperatures like 230, 235, 240, 245, 250. And then all of a sudden it's like 190. You're like, I'm good. And then you blow the fucking engine up because it reads water temperature rather than steam.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So it's great. I mean, good on you for running a water pressure gauge for sure.
But I mean, again, back to the question, like most people will run them in the top of the water pump.
Is that like where the thermospacer is? Is that where you run it?
No.
Okay. What do you run in those? What gauges do you run in that?
Well, I mean, that's like your water temperature and then your idiot light or something like that.
Okay. I mean, because we got a couple of ports there. Right. I mean, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I like legit don't know, and I sell this stuff, so it's kind of that's good. Ooh, we got a long one here, so let's see what Mike has to say. He says, brand new 602 crate dynoed and installed. After 15 laps, got a small vibration. Pulled into pits, and it vibrates at 2,000 RPM, 2,500, it goes away. This motor was sealed by Robert Yates. Drained oil and one small shaving on the magnet. Any thoughts? I'm watching from New Jersey, and we race at Orange County Fair Speedway. Just heard you mention the track.
Right.
Great. But yeah, that vibration and goes away at 2,500, but a little vibrating at 2,000.
No, I don't. Honestly, I mean,
no. I have a question then. Sometimes with like anti-reversion mufflers, of course we don't know what else he's running on here, but we get that really strong low end torque, and it can. No, you think it's something different than that? Okay.
Super. I mean, I didn't know Robert Yates could seal engines. Honestly,
mm-hmm.
I mean, no. I mean, I honestly don't know. I mean, the first thing I'd check probably is like whatever. I mean, these things are like internally balanced on the front, external on the back. So like if you're getting like a weird vibration, I'd probably like check the back end of the motor. So flywheel, flex plate, whatever. Yeah. Good. I don't know.
Good call on that.
I especially don't. I've never seen anything sealed by Robert Yates.
Yeah, that's new.
So that would be new to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
unless it's like the Dawn.
Well, and it might be.
It could be the Dawn.
Yeah.
We're
talking about Don Blackshear. Yes.
Because he's not working at Robert Yates.
Yeah. And of course, I just saw Don last week. I just saw him on Saturday at ZMAX.
And I call him the Dawn.
I know you do. The Dawn is awesome. All right. Steve actually asked, but where's the best location for the water temp probe?
Right in the, like where your like your top radiator hose, like where that's going out. that's the best place.
Right. Okay. Christopher has a comment. He says NASCAR in the rain is a joke.
Oh, absolutely, fucking absolutely. I was like watching that shit at my favorite restaurant in Don Ramon's. I was like watching that shit earlier today. I was like, oh my god.
I think it's great.
It was like. Well,
I'm not saying the racing's great. I'm just saying
no. It was like, oh my god.
You know, I mean, one of my favorite things about F1 is like they race.
Well, that's why
they race. Period.
Yeah.
They don't go, oh my god, there's like a raindrop in the sky. We're not gonna race.
Well, they're like out there driving like bitches.
Oh yeah.
Fucking let's go sideways. Let's do this shit. You know.
Yeah. Gotta own it. Gotta own it. I'm gonna agree with you there. Yeah, if you're gonna do it, do it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you were trying to figure out where they were. Did you ever figure out where they were?
I didn't recognize the track, but I mean, I recognize there were like a lot. They're going, oh my god, I'm gonna like get sideways.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, Christopher likes F1 too. All right, so let's get another question. Joe says, what is your experience with the HVH Super Sucker 2-barrel carburetor adapter?
It's actually one of the best I've ever tested on 2-barrel stuff. So, what I would do, honestly, is like if you can get on a chassis dyno, I mean, even an engine dyno, is like you want to position that thing to move it back and forth. So, predominantly, like the best place that we found is like normally in the middle, depending on the application and the 2-barrel rule. But I've seen some that run better forward, some that run better backward. So, depending on the intake manifold.
That's really interesting.
But no, it's a badass piece.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah. Christopher said the cup cars aren't made for the racing in the rain.
No.
Mike says, thanks. Supposedly Pace can't seal crate engines anymore, and now Yates is the sealer. And we just got motor this week.
All right, so that'll be like from the Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be from Don Blackshear.
So I would
just reach out. Don is one of the nicest guys
around
and incredibly knowledgeable. I'm really excited that he's here in North Carolina now. And so and I wasn't aware. I knew he was changing jobs. And what I didn't know is that how much of the crate stuff would go with him. So I'm still aligned with Pace and I'm still aligned with Don. Right. And I'm glad that he's here in North Carolina now. I hope we'll be able to get together a little more often and do some videos. He really is the expert.
He's only like an hour and
15 minutes,
away.
Yeah. So, he really is such an expert, especially when it comes to the 525s.
Right.
He's probably really the leader of the pack when it comes to the 525. You know, the R&D that goes into that, working with GM directly, really being spearheading any of the changes that needed to happen.
He was one of the ones that like cured the explodey problem.
Right.
525.
Absolutely. So. And developing other series out there. So he is really at the forefront of all of this. Correct. And I would encourage you to reach back out to Yates and just ask for Don Blackshear. Yeah. And I'm sure that he'll, hopefully we've given you some suggestions that can help, but at the same time, reach out to Don directly. And
yeah.
Gotcha. Ken has a question here today. He says, what is the difference in horsepower between Gorsuch 3-blade fan versus the Gorsuch 6-blade fan? I don't think you haven't tested both back to back.
I have.
The 3 and the 6 together? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to walk away for a moment. The guy's super nice.
All right. Both of those on like a super late model, great. No problem. On a crate late model, take that, throw it in the garbage, and buy a race fan.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mean to be a fucking dick because I like to do too, but I'm just saying. No, I mean they
great for supers.
They do not belong on a crate car by any means. I did testing back to back with Matt Henderson, who is a CVR house car driver, and we're talking 30 horsepower between a 3-blade Gorsuch and a 3-blade race fan at the tires. So.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I mean, I ain't throwing dude on the bus. I mean, he makes a great fucking fan if you're running a super.
Yeah.
But great car, no.
And that's just something, I mean, just with what we do here, we focus on crates.
I've got so many friends in the industry that I throw them under the fucking bus because their shit didn't work.
Well, you didn't. It's one thing to throw under the bus, and it's one thing to be like, "Hey,
I'm not throwing them under the bus per se.
Right, like they're terrible people."
It didn't fucking work.
Did you cancel them?
No, they're fucking great people, but their shit didn't fucking work.
Right.
So, I mean,
I've had ideas that didn't work.
I'm not gonna fucking lie.
No, we don't lie here.
I mean, like when Renegade Oil tried to coerce me into like saying, "Oh, we got the best oil," and that's what my fucking testing showed. I was like, "No, you don't.
Do better.
So, do better. Go back and reevaluate your shit."
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's fair. I mean, out of everything, it's fair. We're never cruel to anyone.
People rely on me to like give them accurate information,
and that's what Crate Insider is here to do too.
I am not going to give inaccurate information to make fucking $2.
No, we don't. I'll die with my integrity, and that means doing the right thing, even when nobody's watching, and so we heavily believe in that, both of us. I see Pam is here. She says, "Hey guys, enjoying a cocktail poolside, sporting my new Crate Insider hat. Thanks again." Thank you, Pam, for the sending the videotapes. And I pulled out the VCR today. I was going to get some of that going and
get that shit rolling.
Oh my God, dude.
I know it's like a deal, but
no. It would be perfectly fine if I wasn't trying to stock and open a new location on top of all the other things that I already do.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, at some point we're going to have to, I don't think this Top 5 Tuesday will probably be in my office again, but after that, I might have to do an unveiling and a new kind of walk through the new office. And
this is like Sunday.
What do you mean?
You said this Top 5 Tuesday might be.
No,
this
I know.
Is Sunday.
No, I know it's Sunday, but I'm saying, I mean, Top 5 Tuesday is going to be shot from my office.
Okay, I got you.
Just like it has been for the last 4 years or 3 years, but after that, maybe I do a walkthrough of the new space or something like that. So Unsealed is on my back patio. That's where Unsealed comes from.
But
on
their
Sundays.
Tapes are safe because we got them.
Yeah, I have them. 2 boxes. They're up in my office right now in a climate-controlled environment. And yes. So thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's in there. Okay. Isaac says, so I didn't hear, what's the best fan to run? Race fan. Like literally race - fan.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I wish the fuck I'd invented that thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you can like tune your cooling to however many blades you want to add to it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, and Tom has a good follow-up. He says, Kate, how's the stock on Jones fans? And Steve needs more beer. With the Jones fans, what's so amazing about it is that the Jones fans is the Jones center section, which accommodates 3 blades. And those 3 blades are made by Race Fan. And they did a collab between the 2 companies. And so it's just a specific 3-blade fan.
It can only be a 3-blade.
Correct. And that was part of that. So if you want to just go all 3-blade all the time, you can go with the Jones. Yeah. And I think I'm low on the 17-inch blades, but I've got those coming in this week. Yeah. I talked to Ken earlier, and we've got doing that. All right. Roy says, just for fun, are you doing tire prep this week? Yeah, boy, there's a volatile subject. No, here's something that came up in the last week's show, and we know Hoosier Tires, that the price went up. They're talking about a potential shortage. And in fact, what's really sad is that there's a racetrack local to here that had to shut down and close or cancel this weekend's events because of the lack of tires. That's a concern. That's a concern, and that's a problem. And what are we going to do about it? And we cannot, I shouldn't say we cannot, but something perhaps that we should start looking at is how can we make tires last for more than one race?
Oh, yeah, I know. Tire prep.
Well, and we talk about tire prep, we're talking about products that would be creating more longevity. Conditioners that would create more longevity. And like, obviously, like the Daytona 1 Grip Bite products, they're all environmentally friendly. Obviously there needs to be parameters, and you can't just like open the floodgates and say, hey guys, feel free to go ahead and soak your tires in kerosene. That's not what we're saying. No. What we're saying is perhaps this is the time to look at a environmentally friendly option that's
Right.
going to preserve our tires so that we can race, so that we don't run into these situations. How sad is it that a track had to cancel the event because there aren't going to be enough tires?
Right.
That should never happen.
No.
Even in 2021.
Welcome to Biden's America.
Yeah. I'm
There's
over
that. But
over it. Yeah. See, and then Roy says, see, now you have a show topic. Oh my God. My phone's going to ring tomorrow. Yeah.
I will say I'm like a tire prep promoter.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, if you buy it, it's the same thing as the engine. If you buy it, you own it. Do what the hell you want to do with it.
Well,
and
yes and no, Steve.
Yeah,
I'm going to disagree. Does that mean that you buy a crate engine, you can go ahead and put a different cam in it? No, that does not mean that.
No, but
right?
I mean, if you buy it, you own it. You can do what you want with it. Because there's some series out there who are like, oh, you can't blueprint your engine out of the box. Because if you do, we're gonna like do this, and this to you.
Extra weight and all those other BS.
But they don't know. Because they make a rule to make a fucking rule because they want to be like, us like separated from everybody else. So I mean, it's a fucking joke.
No, and I think it's a fair rule, but I think what they lack when they make a rule like that is they're lacking information.
Right.
They're lacking meeting the moment. And like when we talk about tire prep, when we look at meeting the moment at this point, we really have to look at the survival of our sport. We don't survive if we run out of tires.
Right.
Seriously.
Well, I mean, that's part of my point.
So,
or whatever I'm going to say is like, you've got like certain series that are like, oh, you can't prep your tires, but then, oh, you can't get your tires, so you can't race this weekend, right? But you know what? If I'd have been freaking putting conditioner on my tires for the last 2 weeks, I'd still be racing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I understand all the viewpoints, but
it's a thing.
Perhaps it's somewhere where we can come together and just at least start having the conversation, because we don't have a plethora. We don't have an overstock of tires anymore. I understand that Hoosier provides a lot of money to series for their points funds. And that's something that should be honored. Anytime we have a sponsor, we need to honor that.
Well, that's the fucking Purple Mafia.
Well, I mean, we need to honor our sponsors. At the same time, we don't need to be.
If it was up to me, everybody'd be like on American Racers. So
I don't care. I'm completely agnostic. I sell no tires, so I have no.
Well, I don't either.
Agnostic on
but
this whole
I've raced.
Yeah.
So I know. I mean.
And Tom says, why are tracks not looking at alternative tires of American Racer?
Well, because they won't, because the Purple Mafia gives them too damn much money. So they're like roll in there and go, hey, we're going to give you $5,000 to, let's say, $15,000 a year. And I don't know the exact number. I'm just throwing these numbers out there to like be exclusive Hoosier.
Yeah.
So.
What do you do?
Fuck them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Doug thinks there should be an open tire rule. I think that's challenging because there's going to be some tracks that there's one tire that does better than the other, and then now instead of having one set of tires, now you have to have full sets of tires, and
yeah,
I don't know that that's
open tire rule is that can get complicated. I mean, maybe not out west. Like out west, probably not so much, but like out here, I mean. It can get really fucking complicated really quick.
Really complicated and incredibly expensive.
Because a
harder tire.
I mean, like a lot of the guys on the West. I mean, everybody on the West Coast is racing on black mud, right? And which is a totally different fucking deal.
This is like sandpaper. We race on sandpaper.
Yeah, I mean,
and this red clay is like sandpaper, right?
It can be. Yeah, I mean, during a day show or something like that. But I mean, it's. There's no fucking good answer to this whole.
Oh, I'll tell you. Okay, I just saw this comment. Roy is being brilliant today because he said, "So is Hoosier in breach of contract by not having tires available?"
They fucking should be.
It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, I think they should be.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, you got to shut your damn racetrack down and like, because they won't supply you with fucking tires.
No, I mean we've been talking about the hard tire rule. Of course, I'm just talking about late models here because the modifieds already have them. You know, would that make a difference in the longevity of tires if we were running a harder tire on the late models?
Yes and no.
I mean, feel free to explain that. I mean, yeah.
I mean, back in the day, like when we were on Goodyears, so that was like the biggest piece of shit.
The Goodyear day.
That was like the biggest piece of shit fucking tire ever. But you know what? We had the best racing ever.
Yeah.
On those tires.
Mm-hmm.
You know why?
Because you had to race and you weren't glued to the racetrack.
Well, no, we could prep them.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So we could like put conditioners on them, softeners on them, everything else. I mean, very few people went like the softener route. We all went like conditioners. So I remember back in like, God, what was it, like 2009, 2010, something like that. I ran the same 4 tires for fucking 9 weeks in a row. And I won like 7 races.
Wow.
Well, then everything went to shit because like certain series was like, oh, you're gonna fucking die if you like put tire prep on your damn tires, and like ruined everything. And then you had to buy a brand new fucking tire every time you went to race, or I mean 2 to 3 new tires. So I don't know. I'm a tire prep guy. I mean, I bought it. I own it. I should be able to do what the fuck I want to. I should
be able to take care of it the way that I want to be able to take care of it.
So
which is a lot different than putting a different camshaft into your racing engine. I should be able to care for the products that I have.
If it meets a minimum durometer reading,
right,
I'm good.
Yeah. So. I think that's a bare, you know, it's so crazy to not know who won a race until you wait until the tire samples come back.
God, that shit gets fucking old. Like, it's like really old. It's like, oh yeah, I left the racetrack and Scott Bloomquist won. Oh wait, no, I didn't, because he got thrown out at Eldora for, you know, tire prep.
Or did he? We don't really know.
We don't really know.
You know, other things like either tear down the engine, it's either legal or not. You go across the scales.
That's pretty light.
Yeah,
you know.
You go across the scales, you're either light or you're not. Yeah. I mean, and otherwise you have to wait several days. Okay. I'm being a little bitchy. All right. So Pam says, no hurry on the tapes. They've been sitting around since the 80s. Steve just wants them up on the channel. Steve says, so if rules allow an electric fan or a mechanical on a 602 dirt street stock, which would be the best option? Electric fan or a mechanical fan?
Electric fan all the time, but you won't keep one cool unless you're on methanol. I've tried everything. Trust me.
I know you've experimented with that and tried to make that work.
I've done push-pull fans. I had like a Hendren fan off of one of the NASCAR cars. I've had all this shit, and no. So unless you're on methanol, no, it won't work.
Wow, that's incredible. That's really that there's such a difference between the dirt and the asphalt that somehow makes it so that it doesn't work. What a trip. Well, gosh, we are over an hour at this point. So it's probably time to wrap things up. It's been I really enjoyed today's show. We've got some fantastic questions. Yeah. Yeah. I want to thank you all for being here. Do you have any final words before I kind of take us out?
No.
Okay. I mean, sometimes you have that last word of wisdom that you want to share with the class. So just figured I would ask. Okay.
No.
Well, I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for being part of the show. If you want to catch the replay, you can find us on both YouTube and Facebook. Or if you'd rather listen to the audio, if you're a podcast listener, you can find us at RacingInsidersPodcast.com or just search for Racing Insiders Podcast on any of your podcast players. I want to thank you all for being here. We will be back next Sunday at 5:30, and I hope you have a fantastic week.